Welcome back, everybody. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee from 107.5 WBLS, and our next guest is a songwriter, jazz musician, and owner of Van Taylor Productions music publishing company. And he's an advisor to the board of the Historic Colored Musicians Club of Buffalo, New York. And he joins us today to speak about the impact his band has had on his community and around the world. Please welcome to the show, Van Taylor. Van, how are you?
Hey,
good morning,
I'm
good afternoon, good evening.
Good morning / afternoon. I'm honored to be here and honored to be in your presence, and thank you for having me on. I mean, I know it's Black History Month, but I stand on many shoulders, I must say. I stand on a lot of shoulders, and just to be in your presence alone with the things you've done with writing your books and make the grade foundation, and my God, I mean, I'm just looking at you and I go, ah!
Van, I feel the same way about you, all the wonderful things you've done over the years. And some of the people that have influenced you and some of the people you have worked with are who?
Well, for me, as far as the entertainment of the troops and stuff, it starts when I was a kid because a lot of my relatives were in the Army. I had some technicians or cousins that were, older, much older, of course, that were the mechanics on the airplanes for the Tuskegee Airmen. And they would tell me stories.
Wow.
When I was in high school, my draft number came up, and it's near the end of the Vietnam War. And my draft sergeant said, well, instead of me going over, they had a better idea. And they sent me over as a musician. And so I went over as a musician with a country band. Believe that?
Wow.
The Families program. That's where it starts for me. I had been entertaining the troops here stateside with smaller bands, but overseas starts there. Ran across a gentleman named Bob Hope, and he proceeded.
He's done a lot of that.
Educate me. Bob Hope's a big name. I didn't really know how big, at the time. I'm a youngster, still in high school. But actually, he educated me on a number of things as far as the war, the participation of Black people in the war, and actually educated me on the civil rights movement.
Yeah, wow.
So I never.
Bob Hope.
Yeah, Bob Hope.
He did a lot of the, what was it?
USO shows.
USO
shows, yes. All the way back to World War II, he was that guy. But he was very observant. He was also a humanitarian,
Yeah.
And he saw me on stage. Kind of hard to miss. I was the only Black person on stage.
Did you have your country band with you?
Yeah, I was up there with a country band.
Yeah. So you've been doing this from way back.
I have.
And then you speak about the Colored Musicians Club and the work that they do.
Well, that's just it. They go back to the turn of the century, and the history that they have is legendary. As far as racism, the music unions, their local was 533. There were two unions in Buffalo, the 43rd Union, which was an all-white local, and the 533, which was the Black local. So if you were a band coming to Buffalo, New York, you had to be in the union. That was the union you signed up with. So every major star, I don't care who you were, if you came to Buffalo, you signed into that union. And the blessing was that they owned the building. And as they merged the AFM, American Federation of Musicians, which I am a union member, have been since I was a teenager, they absorbed all the Black Musicians Club, except for this one, that they owned the actual building. Thus, historically, the Colored Musicians Club in Buffalo, New York, is the oldest club in the United States. That's a matter of fact and record. So I encourage people to go to our site, CMC Buffalo or cmcthemusic.org, and check it out. We have a museum there. I served as vice president. And my responsibility was to make sure that the museum happened. It did. So it's something that you can come to and see not only the history of the museum, all the people that participated there, all the wonderful musicians that came through there. Miles Davis came there as a young guy. Dizzy Gillespie used to come up there to practice. Sarah Vaughan, Aretha Franklin, you name it. Aretha lived in Buffalo for quite some time.
Yeah.
Her dad,
a lot of greats from Buffalo, especially disc jockeys. Disc jockeys also. You have Frankie Crocker, Jerry Bledsoe, who was of the Gary Bird, I think, was also from Buffalo.
Oh yeah, that's right. Matter of fact, he worked at WUFO.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, he's an alumni of the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame. We inducted him a few years ago,
Yes.
and a
Yes.
colleague
Yes.
of yours. Through it was truly an honor for us. And he's an amazing, amazing gentleman and great talent songwriter.
He wrote for
And it's
Stevie
funny too.
Wonder. Yeah, he
Yeah,
wrote for Stevie
that
Wonder.
too. And also working with Sandra Tremcosta, Honoré DaCosta through the
The
Bouillon
Bullion
Foundation.
Foundation.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Right.
That's right. And it's great that it's connected to the Make the Grade Foundation and what you do. So it's kind of a nice way that we all meet and kind of try to help this world become a better place in which to live. So it's amazing.
It's a circle of love.
It is.
How have you navigated through COVID-19, this pandemic? You, the band?
Well, we have actually. Of course, like everybody else being shut down and shut in, you don't do what you used to do.
Yeah.
But we have done some performances live actually. Right now we're restructuring. I've had my COVID shot, so I'm fully vaccinated and glad to say that. And we're working on getting the rest of our organization the same way across the country. Many of us, there's about 54 of us that makes up our organization so that we can entertain overseas. So we're spread out across the country. And we're doing actually a telethon this coming up weekend, which will be after the fact. But we're making it through, and we're surviving.
And although you had your shots, just tell everybody that I said to pay attention to the 3 W's. Wear that mask, watch your distance, and wash your hands.
Absolutely, all the time.
3 W's.
I've been doing that long before there was COVID.
Yeah, it's important.
When you go overseas, you copy the Japanese and the Chinese. They were wearing masks like it was nobody's business.
Exactly. Yeah, they knew something was. They knew something was going on.
Yeah.
That's good. Any memories? Tell us about some of the memories of working with some of these musicians and artists and performing for soldiers, service members.
Well, one of my favorites is Grover Washington. Grover Washington. He stands out because we came up together and magnificent talent. Yeah, Grover Washington out of Buffalo. We worked together. Matter of fact, before he passed away, we had set up to take him on tour with us, along with a number of talented jazz musicians along the course of that way. So some of the performances and places that stand out for me as far as Music on the Front Lines, that is the name of our organization, Music on the Front Lines. And that came from being in Vietnam, because we were on a serious front line, flying from hill to hill to hill, being shot at.
Yeah.
So the name stuck. But some of the things like that and USO shows, we did one where we got Dionne Warwick to come in. It was in Italy, Naples, Italy, and she brought her entire orchestra. That was magnificent, the show that she offered up, to the troops at that time. And there's a number of people, when I look back over history, I think about when James Brown came over into Vietnam, which was before me, and then Louis Armstrong. They're the ones that opened the door for me. So I stand on their shoulders, actually.
Yeah.
And the talents of what they did, and then I tried to open the doors for people behind me. So that's what I've managed to do. And speaking of that, here in Buffalo, by supporting the troops, we're starting the first ever in the United States American Veterans Monument, which will be here in Buffalo, at the Buffalo Naval Park. And that's a very important venture because it's never been done. There will be actually a place you can go to and learn the history of African Americans that have fought in every single war since this country was founded, and the details of what they were and who they are. And
so you have some history to make.
It is. It's going to hopefully be completed by the end of or fall of 2021 because of COVID. We're behind schedule, and things like that.
Where can people go to find more about the work that you're doing in our community?
Well, it's like this. You can go to musiconthefrontlines.com, okay? And then my band is Tailor Made Jazz. That's the signature group, Tailor Made Jazz. We're the longest running group for Armed Forces Entertainment under that name. Armed Forces Entertainment is the official, I always say that they are the official entertainment company for the United States government. Music on the front lines, we are civilian contractors, which offer our services to MWR, Armed Forces Entertainment, and everybody else that calls upon us.
Yeah, he's a part of the Tailor-Made Jazz Band, songwriter, musician, and member of the Colored Musicians Club of Buffalo, New York. Van Taylor. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Coming up next, I've got my man Bobby C. He's got the latest in the world of sports. Next.